The Angry Chicken is proudly sponsored by DogHouseSystems.com. If you use our code TAC, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. We thank DogHouseSystems.com for their support of The Angry Chicken.
Well met.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
It's time for a little blood.
This is the Angry Chicken.
I hope you like my invention.
I'm gonna eat that. Reporting for duty.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen and leper gnomes. We don't discriminate here to The Angry Chicken, the Hearthstone podcast. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined, as always, by Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Guys, how you doing today?
Excellent.
Fabulous.
Doing excellent.
Good.
I just finished streaming a little bit, actually, too, which I'm going to try to make a regular thing before the show.
Cool.
To build up excitement before we start, because, you know, Angry Chicken's all about excitement.
I try so hard to work in a little bit of Hearthstone talk to the end of A-Move Radio, which records just before this. But Kyle and Ben don't care.
They don't care. Right down. It was incredible.
Actually,
What's wrong with these people?
Kyle does play quite a bit of Hearthstone, but he'd been out of town this particular week, so he didn't have a whole lot to say on the matter. And Ben is just like, I don't give a shit till it's on iPad.
All right. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
The game is going to be amazing once it hits iPad. And,
yeah.
I was playing my iPad games the other day, and I was like, God, all of these games are so crap. Like, there's nothing on the iPad. There's maybe a couple of games I think are fun, and this is what they're competing against, is like this crappy. It's like, here, just tap this and then wait 5 hours and come back later and tap it again. It's like, really? Oh man. So yeah, they're gonna dominate once this game hits iPads, dude.
Yeah. Everyone listening who thinks I'm like the Magic the Gathering Nazi who's like, this game's not as good as Magic. You're wrong. I love Hearthstone. I play way more than Magic, but you need to talk to Ben from A-Move Radio. He is this elitist, like, nothing is as good as Magic, like, kind of guy. It's very funny.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about what is it, Gabe Walls? You know who Gabe Walls is?
No.
No.
Okay. Apparently he's a Magic player. Fairly well-known Magic player. Like, I think he's like a world champion or something like that. Also played poker and is like cashed in the World Series of poker.
Okay.
And has decided to throw all of his support behind Hearthstone.
Huh.
Like, played for like the last 6 days or something. Got to Legend playing only the hand lock deck, and loves Hearthstone and has decided this game is the future. So that's kind of a cool thing to come from like a big-time Magic guy. So yeah, it was kind of a cool ringing endorsement.
Cool. That's badass.
And he's been streaming a lot too, so I really like his stream. So anybody out there, you guys should go check him out. He's a good guy.
Yeah. I've all the Magic stuff. I've been like, I listen to quite a bit of Magic podcasts too, and you can hear Hearthstone kind of seeping in there. Like the guys are like, even in shows that are clearly not going to divert from Magic or talking about it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's out there. It's in the sphere. You know. It's the same thing with like the Instance. We have to talk about other MMOs and other games that share mechanics and game types and styles.
Absolutely.
And stuff. So you can't live in a vacuum when you're talking about CCGs and TCGs and all that.
Mm-hmm. No, you can't. So this past weekend we finally got to stream the Angry Chicken Invitational.
Yeah, we did.
Which was so amazing.
It was a good time. Yeah. Thanks to everyone who came out for that. We had a really good first live showing and even more views after the fact on the Twitch VOD. Right off the bat, a lot of people have been asking, when's it going up on YouTube? And the answer is it should be up by the end of the week. Got to cut it up quite a bit. And again,
if you noticed, the audio is a little janky on it because apparently Final Cut X, Final Cut 10, which is not my favorite version of Final Cut, did some weird things when it transcoded the audio and totally put all these weird pops in and stuff. So that sucked, but we still aired it, and it was still okay.
We learned a lot.
Yeah, we learned a lot from this whole process, and the next time we do it, it's going to be first of all, it's going to happen quicker.
Yeah, because dude, what the fuck? How old was this?
Yeah, I know.
Damn it! Now I have to edit that out.
Novice engineers.
Thanks, Jocelyn. Now I have to go in and find that F-bomb.
So much rage in the chat from like anybody who
So
didn't
much
understand
rage.
what was going on.
There were a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
was pretty
trolls, and honestly, the positive feedback definitely outweighed the negative. And
Oh,
the
yeah,
only negative feedback was, "Hey, this is old. It's not current meta," which we already knew. So I'm like, cool. If that's the only negative feedback, I'm good.
The meta changed. Like, that patch hit, what was that, like a week and a half or 2 weeks after the tournament was played? Like, I mean, we played the tournament, and then we came back, did an Angry Chicken, and then they patched it all like crazy.
It was bad timing for us. Even if we'd have put that thing out really, really quickly, it still would have been post-patch because it happened almost immediately after, and we were not aware that it was coming. I mean, there was no way to know at the time that it was so close. And me and Garrett were texting afterwards, and I think the idea basically is just, once the game hits, the stuff isn't going to change as fast.
Exactly.
But, like, you wait for something to actually change and then quickly jump on it and do another one.
Yeah, we basically came to the
you have a
decision.
time.
Yeah, that the next one of these we do, we're going to time it right after a balance patch.
Yeah, absolutely. But thanks to everybody, people who are fans of this show who are in there. You guys were really supportive, and you guys were really active in the chat room. So even though some people came in and maybe didn't know who the hell we were and hopefully had a positive experience, you guys were just being so positive the whole time while you were in there that it just outweighed any trolling that was being done. And towards the end, I was just having a ball just trolling people. So I didn't mind one bit.
Yeah,
We kind of gave up in the last, 45 minutes to an hour there. We were just like, all right, screw it. I've answered the same question for the last 3 hours. I'm done.
Yeah, although I didn't realize that, Jocelyn, you always say all these really girly things, and I can't stand it.
Apparently.
This is a little inside baseball, guys.
Yeah, you speak Canadian. Nobody knows what the hell you're saying. It sounds like Wookiee, and all the stuff you say is girly. So didn't know any of this.
Indeed.
This is all news to me.
So punch it, Chewie. That's all I have to say to that.
That's the Wookiee one.
Also, big thanks to GoSuGamers.net, who did a really short and sweet write-up on the Angry Chicken Invitational. Really appreciate that. There are spoilers, though, so if you haven't watched the tournament yet, if you're waiting for VODs, it spoils it right from the get-go.
And Garrett, you tweeted a spoiler out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wanted to
and
congratulate.
2 of our crazy game stories I pulled from the tournament, so I don't know if you want to even do those this week.
You know what? Yeah, no, sorry. If you're really that concerned about spoilers, you should probably just not listen to this episode. But
it's
I come from the world
of aired.
I come from the world of StarCraft, where to get the hell away from the Twitter when a Korean tournament's going on. You just have to deal with it because that's what Twitter is here for.
If the World Series was on or something, I wouldn't expect nobody to be talking about what happened.
Yes, Dills. Our Hearthstone tournament for $200 clearly analogous to the World Series.
I'm not comparing it like it's we had 4 of the best players, so I mean, come on.
That is very true. That is very damn true.
But yeah, I mean, it's just if you were worried about spoilers, it's rough, and it's kind of on you to avoid that stuff. I always expect that when I know there's something I am taping and I need to watch later, I'm just constantly ready to just shove my fingers in my ears and just be like la 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 la, because I know it's on me if somebody says something, it's my bad for hearing it.
That's why I started watching Breaking Bad live on TV, which I hate doing because I was like, you know what, I'm not getting spoiled on this.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
Same thing I did with Lost. I just watched the last episode. I cried like a baby though.
I feel like if you watch just the last episode, you just be like, I don't have a clue what just happened.
None of this means anything to me.
This makes no sense. So also, Dills, you had a birthday.
Oh,
Jocelyn,
yeah.
We're terrible people.
Totally missed it. I had to go all the way back through all of my Facebook posts and all of my Twitters. I was like, no, I actually full on just missed your birthday. So, dude, I am so sorry. I'm a terrible friend and co-host.
Cool.
Happy belated birthday to Dills.
Yep.
I cried a little bit that you guys didn't wish me happy birthday, but it made up for when everybody else did.
This is more. I was gonna say this is a more sincere birthday because this is real friends, how they figure this shit out, not these people that just see a notification on Facebook and write happy birthday.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: I always people will come to me and be like, "Oh, it's my birthday on whatever." I've never been that kind of person. I never go out of my way to let everybody know. So if it wasn't for Facebook, nobody would freaking know. I didn't even say anything on Twitter until a bunch of people had wished me happy birthday, and I just wanted to respond to them and say thank you.
Yeah.
And that opened the floodgates, obviously. But yeah, I'm not really that kind of, and also when you're getting old, do you really care? But it's not
you're ancient, dude. Ancient.
Yeah. I'm gonna die soon, you guys. So get our chicken challenges in now.
Well, that's just because you have a hardcore heroin addiction. I mean,
that is also
has nothing to do with your
Ooh,
age.
too soon.
I will not kick. Sorry. I'm committed.
So, anyways, happy birthday, dude. Let's get into the wall of news that is this week in Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Be happier, Knife Juggler. Be happier. There was a bunch of Hearthstone developer interviews this past week, and there were a lot of interesting tidbits that came out of them. One of the largest being over on Hearthpwn.com. So both Ben Brode and Eric Dodds made the circuit this past week, and let's talk about some of the highlights, because some of the biggest things, they talked about adventures quite a bit. So one of the first things I want to talk about is they said that there are going to be class-specific cards that are obtained from adventures, which I believe is a question we asked a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think we were pretty well aware of this. He said like 20 to 40 cards or something like that. So it makes sense to me that there will be at least a few class-specific ones in there.
Mm-hmm. I think he said like 30 cards.
30 cards. There you go. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. There'll be like a couple for each class and then some neutrals. So it's just good to get confirmation, though. It's nice to know they're being really forthcoming. Sounds like that means they're pretty far along in this process when they can actually just start saying this kind of stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Continuing on with disappointing news about spectator mode, they said it will not be ready for release, but it is high on the priority list based on community feedback. But just
that is not disappointing news, because I mean, we were just getting interviews, like, what was it, last week or the week before, and saying like, no, we're not working on spectator mode, it's not a priority and everything else. So for them to turn that around and say it won't be ready for release, but it is a high on the priority list, that's a huge 180 from a couple of weeks ago.
See, I'm cynical about Blizzard turnaround time, though, because I'm like, it's high priority, but they still aren't saying they're actually working on it, so this thing could be like a year out in Blizzard time.
There's no way it's that far behind. No. I think they realize what's happening out there, and like the amount of tournaments that people are trying to run and all that. So, I mean, it's totally understood that first priority for them is obviously make the game stable, get the game out, make 1v1 as good as it can be, and then I think we'll see pretty soon after release some of this stuff start making it in.
Yeah, we were talking about that after the tournament the other night on stream. I said it's hard to argue, as much as we really want a spectator mode, it's hard to argue with putting just the gameplay first. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, the game is in beta, so we can't expect it to come out with every single feature that it's going to have eventually.
Right.
But know that there's a lot of people really excited about an esports version of Hearthstone. So and it's happening whether Blizzard puts this in or not.
I'm about to say it's
going to make it much better.
It's already happening, but
yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing, is that they're seeing everybody's take on what spectator mode should look like, and they're just like, whoa, we're Blizzard. We gotta get a handle on this, and we have to make it look the way we want it to look, because they've probably got a whole bunch of different ideas from everybody's mashups, but really when it comes down to it, they want to control the look and the experience and everything else. So I'm not surprised that a lot of these VODs are kind of pushing it into the forefront and making them say, oh, okay, yeah, now we have to do this.
Yeah, right. I expect it to be a really clean spectator mode when it does hit. Because
exactly.
Again, Blizzard does things the right way. So
yeah.
Yep. They said there's also no plans to implement an API available to the community, but if many people want it, they can look into implementing it. Our little helper Tash, who puts together the news segments for the show, figured he'd throw this one in here specifically for Dills and his love of spreadsheets.
Yeah, I don't even use them anymore, though. I'm over it now.
I figured you probably gave up.
arenamastery.com.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, arenamastery.com is actually really good. Anybody who's interested in tracking their arena runs, I highly recommend you check that out. Actually, I should probably type that in right now so that it's in the show notes. But it's a really good solution for tracking all this stuff, because it actually has the ability to go 12 win, and like if this changes, it'll probably get updated and all that. Because I basically threw all my spreadsheets out when it switched to 9 to 12 because I didn't have that in there and I didn't feel like messing around with it.
Yeah.
So Arena Mastery updated had the 12, and you can see how you do with each class. You can see how you do overall. You can see first and going first or second. You can see all that stuff. So really good site, and I recommend everybody use that. But it would be nice to have like an add-on that just does it for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. Because I don't want to hand enter anything.
I was just gonna say an add-on would be so great.
Yeah, and so people have made them with OCR, so optical character recognition software that will actually just read your screen and then input this stuff in for you. But again, all that stuff is a little bit weird because it relies on the strength of the OCR, and OCR is definitely not infallible. I mean, I used to work for a company that used a lot of it, and there would be a lot of mistakes that had to be corrected later. So it would be much better if it just pulled straight from the data and just straight from the back end API calls and all that and did it for you.
Yeah. They talked a little bit about the release of the game. Battle.net Global Play should be available at release, meaning we'll be able to play our friends across the pond and other locations.
So good.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, this is something that took forever to be implemented into StarCraft 2, so for it to be coming this soon to Hearthstone is really nice.
Yeah, now I get to play Terpster's Murloc deck. Great.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can record it and then publicly shame him for being a talentless hack.
True. I already tried to shame him publicly. It didn't work that well, though.
I think I heard that episode.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of StarCraft features that are coming much sooner to Hearthstone, the Reconnect feature should also be available, and it is currently being worked on.
Would have helped you a few weeks ago, Dills?
Yeah. When my computer completely crashed in the finals of a tournament, it would have been nice if I could have popped back into that game and just continued. So
I don't think any of us have made it out free of wanting this feature at some point in our Hearthstone playtime.
Yeah. And I mean, again, when the game comes out, if it's really, if it's really stable, this will happen less. I mean, right now, sometimes you just get disconnected, not because of your computer or your internet. It's just, you just got DC'd because of Battle.net, Yeah. But when we get to a point where this is an esports environment, it's going to be really, really important that people have a chance not to lose games because of that. So.
Yeah. Talking about economy and whatnot, they said there are no specifics to announce yet regarding the new heroes, which will be introduced for real money. The concept is currently in the early stages, so this is kind of commenting on what we were talking about last week, how you could buy like Varian as your variant for the warrior hero. And so on and so forth.
Looking forward to it.
Yep, I want Arthas. I want a damn Arthas hero.
Well, we're not going to get him until we get Death Knight.
I'll have a non-corrupted paladin version. I'll take that.
All right.
Don't forget, he wasn't always a Death Knight. Come on. Give it the lore. Come on.
That'd just be weird, though.
Check the lore.
Oh, I know. I've done Culling of Stratholme many a time. I know all about Arthas.
That's a very good point, man. If I have to hear him talk about this one more time.
Yeah, they're already turned. We've got to kill them. All right, dude. Yeah, we got it. You're turning evil. You get it.
They went on to say that the developers are actually really happy at the current state at which players are earning gold and getting packs, and that the real reward for Hearthstone should be playing the game.
Sure. Okay. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like it's too slow to gain gold?
I think they've hit a good note. Of course, I would like more gold.
Exactly. I was just gonna say I would very much like some more gold, but I do understand that I don't play nearly as much as a lot of people, and I therefore do not deserve as much gold. So yeah, I think you don't want to flood the economy, and as long as they have people that are playing hours and hours and hours every day, it just it makes sense. It feels fair. I
originally wanted it like 15 gold per 3 wins, and I still think that would be a fine number, but I don't feel like if I really want to earn gold that it's really hard to do.
Would you want
not that hard
15 gold for 3 wins still with the 100 gold cap per day?
I don't care about the gold cap. That's fine too. But I wouldn't mind maybe 150 to even it out, so it's still the same. Because if you're gonna up the gold, you still want to like allow the
same number of wins.
Players to play. Yeah, exactly. Play the same amount of time. But to me, it's like I don't really find myself coming up close to hitting the cap ever. I'm sure there are players out there who do, but they're a very small portion.
Yeah. What about you, Garrett? Have you ever come close to hitting that gold cap ever?
I haven't even been paying attention over the Christmas break. I did let a lot of dailies accumulate, so I'm curious if maybe I did, but
no, the dailies have
don't
nothing
count.
to do with it.
Oh, the dailies don't count.
Wins.
Okay, then no, probably no way in hell. I bet.
Yeah, you have to win
You'd have to
30
get-
times in a
yeah,
day
30.
and then keep winning.
Yeah, no, I don't have that much time in the day to play.
Well, you're just a lightweight.
I'm clearly, I clearly have a day job.
You're not trying hard enough, Garrett.
Yeah, you're not hitting your gold cap. Get out.
Oh, damn. I'm just going to have to go into my boss's office and be like, listen, I'm going to have to take off about 4 hours early today because I need a gold cap in
I need to
in
gold cap
Hearthstone
every day. I'm
without
sorry.
dailies.
That's how it works.
So,
In a free game
though,
that's still in beta.
if they can figure out another way to deal with the bots, this may go away at some point. I mean, there once was a cap on dailies in WoW, and that's no longer there. So it's this is only really to combat botting, and if that is figured out, another way to deal with that, then there's really no reason for this. So
yep.
this is like a stopgap, I think, and it's fine. It's fine, even if it's permanent. I don't really care. It's fine. I'm not gonna rage about it.
Like I said, I would always like more gold. I feel like they've hit a good balance here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting a pack like every other day with my kind of casual game time at the moment. So bring it on. Cool little factoid here. According to the current numbers, that there is about a 3% advantage for going first over going second. That's even less of an advantage at lower levels of play.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of read that, and at first I was like 3%, okay, but then I was like, wait a minute, 3%? That seems kind of large. I don't know how they would make it smaller, but
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's nearly impossible to make it 50-50. So 3% is about right.
3%'s pretty damn good. I mean, like the best case scenarios I think we've had in like StarCraft have been maybe like 1.3% in one of the 3 different matchups.
That's pretty crazy. But there's no going first or second. I mean, you just start at the same time.
It's just timing, yeah.
Yeah. This is totally separated from class versus class, which is what StarCraft deals with. But so my percentages are about 6% different, 6% better going first for me. So people who complain about the coin being overpowered, I'm sorry, you guys, it's just not true.
It's not true for
going first
Dills.
is still better.
So it's also rogues are kind of weak right now, and they do real well with that coin. So
yeah, and that's the only class that really benefits from it in a major way. And even still, I still think, I mean, getting the mana advantage is just bigger. And yeah, they wanted this to be equivalent to chess, which I guess is around 3%, right? So if you can get to chess, which has obviously been around forever, you're doing it right. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there's currently no plans to implement an armor cap for heroes.
Okay.
So
fine with that.
Yeah, I still find this odd that you can't heal above 30.
Yeah,
I find it so weird.
A heal is different than armor, though. If you think about, like, you're putting more armor on, or heavier plate, or a bigger shield, or something, that makes sense.
From a lore aspect, not from a logic and design aspect.
But I mean, so okay, in Magic, yes, you can go over, but this is World of Warcraft. Like, if your character in World of Warcraft has whatever, unless you like buff them, so maybe they could, one day put in something like, Fortitude buff or something like that for priests, where they get 35 health or something. But I don't know. It just seems like you heal up to full. You're at full health.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's strange that some classes can go to what is effectively 40, 50, 60, etc. health, and then some classes
balanced,
just like
though,
because
they suck. Right?
That's not good balance, though.
Sure,
I would like warrior to be good.
It's good balance. Do warriors feel completely overpowered? No, they don't. So it is balanced, and it is good balance. Mm-hmm. It would be bad balance if it was like every class that had armor was just insanely better than every other class because of that one thing. It's just, again, it's like people complain about the coin, but the numbers don't lie, really. So
it's just one of the things about this game that I can't wrap my head around.
Okay.
The fact that warriors are kind of a shitty hero to play, I feel like is a bad argument.
Well, Well, I'm not saying they're shitty. I'm just saying like they're not OP. Like this isn't making them way better than everybody else. Like this is not giving some crazy advantage to classes with armor. So it's a non-issue to me. It's just that there's no real reason to change the way it works.
Right. Well,
and I mean, like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't necessarily. I mean, I think I've seen probably consistently somewhere between like 8 to 10 armor, maybe. Like, I'm not seeing these people that are getting 40, 50 armor. I know it's possible, but that's one of those like perfect storm situations.
Oh, right.
So
it's an outlier. Yeah, it's not a common situation. So
well, currently, I mean, yes, druids can get armor, but they don't have the cards like warriors do, where they can just slap it on. So it's really infrequent because there's really only one class in the game currently that can really get high armor numbers, and it's not even a popular class to boot.
Well, I don't know. They're pretty popular now because they have a really good rush deck. So, it's again, it's like this isn't what makes them strong. Doesn't make them weak. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really do anything. So, it just is what it is. It's not a big deal.
Gotcha. Dragon cards originally worked together a bit through a, quote, guy who would interact with them, but it never made the cut. Okay. What? That's it? That's all you got?
I was trying to figure out who that guy might be, like, all afternoon.
I would love it if the cards, like all the other cards too, like dwarves had like, dwarf on there, or like elves had elf on. Like, I think that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Jocelyn, you asked on Twitter a while ago, like what other types of like card synergies people would like to see in the game, and one of the ones I liked was racial, and why races are a big thing in Warcraft, and why isn't the Elven Archer considered an elf?
Yes,
sure, yeah, and there could be like elf buffing cards and stuff like that. Right. Kind of cool.
Exactly, you could have like some kind of like moon eclipse thing that like buffs.
It is weird that there's this dragon, just like they put it on there, they classify it as a dragon. And there's no way to do anything about that means nothing. So obviously there was a plan there, got cut. Maybe we'll see it come back.
Yeah, and you never. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always try to be a little more metered on this show because I feel like this is one set of cards. There's not a ton of cards. There's going to be more coming. So I kind of look at this like I do a base set.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll probably see more stuff like this. We'll see other races come in. We could see like pandas could have panda and humans could have human and all. Like there could be a lot of possibilities there, and it could be cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. They go on about card races a little bit, nothing of substance. They said they're happy with the way Pirates turned out. Not every card race has to work like Murlocs. I have to say, what are they happy about?
Yeah,
I have to ask that question. I don't know. They're bad cards.
Yeah, there's no reason to ever make a pirate deck unless you're just screwing around in casual play. It's just not good.
Yeah, they're weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, some of them on their own are good.
I was going to say, it kind of seems like that's what they're going for, is that like if you make a Murloc deck, they all go together quite well. And it's like the pirates...
Oh, it's terrible. They go together terribly.
Well, okay.
Make a terrible deck.
They buff each other in a nice, happy Murloc way.
No, in a crappy, shitty Murloc way.
Shit, we all have scurvy now. Congratulations.
Sorry.
But with pirates, like, they follow a theme, even though they may not necessarily go well together. They fit the theme of other decks in different cases. Like I think we talked about with the weapons, like having I can't remember which one it is, but there's the pirate that buffs your weapon or gets buffed by your weapon or whatever. So, like they have roles in most decks should you choose to use them, whether they go together or not.
Two of them, of them have roles in other decks. So
I'm just saying that they might be happy with that, as opposed to, you don't necessarily just always want Murlocs, but with a different name at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want all of the card sets to work exactly the same way. Otherwise, there'd be no choice, it'd be no fun.
Well, it is true. Like, let's say there was all of the cards had some sort of classification. A new player would come in and be like, oh, I should probably make all a dwarven deck. I should probably make an elvish deck. They would come in and they would think that that's what they're supposed to do. And that's what happens with Murlocs right now. People come in and they start looking around and they go, oh, wait, these Murlocs buff each other. Like, oh, I just had an amazing epiphany, you guys. Like, I could make a Murloc deck. This is what happens. this is what happens. And so if they did this with all the cards, that would be weird. I mean, when the first time I played Hunter, it was very clear to me. Oh, I should put Beasts in. So it would kind of, I think, pigeonhole people a little bit.
But even then, with the beast cards, there are some that buff other beasts, like the Timberwolf. But for the most part, those interact a little bit more with your hunter cards than they do with each other. So
True.
Even that is slightly different
Timberwolf
than
is
the
a hunter
Murloc
card.
mechanic.
Yeah, Timberwolf is a hunter card. That's like they're the only ones that really care about the beast at all, because all of the cards.
Yeah, their class, their hero specific cards.
Yeah,
have a direct benefit to beasts. Like to play a beast deck at any other hero is actually kind of ridiculous.
It would not work. There would be no reason to do it.
It'd be like, well, a 2/3 Raptor is decent.
Yeah, and you're like, wait a minute, a 2/3 everything or a 3/2 everything else is fine. So yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. They're the pirates. It all has something to do with the weapon. I just don't think it's all really that good.
No, but they don't need to do this with everything. That's I think the overall point here is like there's no need to do this type of interaction and synergy with every single type. Yeah. But it would be cool to see what they all are, because like I do want to make fun weird decks. Like Crip was playing his Mordor deck, right? Just basically all dwarves and dragons.
Yep.
Pretty cool little concept. Not that it's good necessarily, but it's just fun and it's interesting.
Fun, yeah.
Right.
So it would be nice to just see that on there. Because, I was thinking about the other day, like, he doesn't have Elven Archer in there, but he really should because of the friggin' whatchamacallit dude. I don't watch Lord of the Rings, but, there's that Elven Archer guy, right? Like, isn't there...
Legolas?
Yeah, there you go. That's the dude. So why isn't he in there? Like, that you could
watch
make, like,
Lord of the Rings. Man.
Look, just can't be bothered, all right?
Can't be bothered.
Oh, God. I think I just died a little.
I did too, man. That's like saying I can't be bothered.
I don't need 3 hours of people walking through mountains.
Man, I can't be bothered watching Star Wars or listening to a Beatles song.
Oh my God! Now you're just being ridiculous.
It's War of the Nerds. I love it.
Someone go find the YouTube video of the fight from Clerks 2 between the Lord of the Rings fan and the Star Wars fan, and just insert that here if you want to hear this fight go on, because we're going to move on.
You guys want to talk about cake versus pie for a little while we're at it? Pancakes versus waffles. Let's do this.
Oh wow, yeah. See that there's a lot of variables there.
We could really just figure everything out tonight if we wanted to.
Yeah. Moving on. 9 deck slots. They said keeps things manageable and works with the UI design philosophy of making it feel physical. Good. I still want more. I don't care.
Okay. I do too. I mean, just turn a page. It's fine. Just give it to us. We want more.
Yeah.
I always hate having to delete a deck that I think is pretty cool, because I need another one. It just kind of sucks.
I mean, I realize at some point then you've got pack rat syndrome, but
yeah. I mean, but they could still make it if it was like, because it would be cool to be able to have 2 versions of a paladin deck. But right now you kind of feel the need to have one of each.
One for each hero, yeah.
Which is kind of where I end up a lot of times. Right now I have 2 druids. And I think I have 2 warlocks, but like that means I don't have a warrior deck right now, so
yeah,
kind of sucks. But
yeah.
I understand.
In their defense, there's definitely times where I have no interest in having a certain hero. Like right now, I'm like 10 seconds away from deleting my rogue deck. But
it's fine, because if you do want to save a deck, and it would be cool if there was a way to just kind of click a button and say save this deck for later. And like throw it into like some folder or something, that would be kind of cool. But if you really need to remember what was in the deck, you do have tools. There's Hearthhead and Hearthpone and all that stuff out there. So
I think it's fine now. I think as we get into the thousands upon thousands of cards years down the road, it'll be a little harder.
Sure.
Unless they implement some kind of thing where certain cards fall off, like Magic if you're playing Standard. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do it. Like doesn't Magic just? Again, I'm talking from a place where I'm just, I'm ignorant to it. But when a new set comes out, like kind of the old set is kind of obsolete.
It depends on the format.
Just goes away. Oh, okay.
It depends on the format. But if you're playing like Standard, I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't play in constructed tournaments because I don't have a lot of money.
Sure, makes sense.
So that's not something I have a big handle on.
By the way, you guys, everybody who emails us about it sucks that you have to have all these legendaries in your decks and all that. Mana Grind is now running a Wednesday night limited Swiss tournament. The decks cannot have legendaries or epics in them. So if you have if you hate those damn pay to win decks, try to play in this thing. It's pretty cool. Managrind.com or whatever. I think it's all part of Hearthstone now. So, but go check that out. It sounds pretty fun. I would like to play in one. I haven't had a chance to yet, but it's a pretty cool idea. Pretty cool concept. We're gonna start seeing stuff like this. Yeah.
I've heard people talking about formats or tournament formats, including some type of limitation or banned cards.
Well, banning cards like Tank Master and stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say just flat out ban cards, like allow everything except for 2 or 3, because I know everyone's talking about Nat Peggle and Tank Master right now, but I don't know. I like the idea of banning a type of card, so saying like no legendaries,
Murlocs.
no Murlocs. But yeah, I don't know. When you cut it down to 1 or 2 cards, I just think, well, no, they're in there for balance reasons. There's no problem with them. So
they're not technically OP, but the reason people are talking about banning them is they don't want, like, they would like to see games where it's not decided by straight up 50-50 coin flips. It's because Tank Master and Nat Peggle basically are just these coin flips that continue to happen. So I understand it. However, I don't think like in the Angry Chicken invitation that we would ever do that, because when Deathwing hits the board and then you top deck Tank Master, it's just too entertaining.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so I understand, if we're playing for big money or something, but entertainment-wise, they're just too fun. So yeah, I wouldn't want to do it in my tournament, but anybody can do whatever they want with their tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking a little more about adventure mode, they said the structure for it is still in the works. More about the card. We already said that there's going to be between 20 and 30 20 to 30 cards in each adventure. That they're confirming again. Yes, it's against AI. No current plans for co-op adventures. It makes me sad.
But this is again they got to get the 1v1 stuff right first. So this doesn't mean it's never going to happen.
Right. Just
not right
down
now.
the road.
Yeah.
But I want everything I could possibly think of for this game right this moment. And I'm going to go to the forums.
I want to wake up in the morning and all the dreams I had about Hearthstone suddenly came true.
And I'm going to go to the forums, hit caps lock, and tell everyone this. So, there's also another good interview over on iHeartU.com with Ben Brode and Eric Dodds talking specifically about esports, where they said that they're paying a lot of attention to the esports community and seeing what features are most important. They said as they're doing that, quote, okay, these things we really have to get in there, and then they start working on that shortly after ship. Exactly when we get in what feature depends, because there's a whole lot of features people are looking for, like these 3 jerks sitting in their chairs on this show saying, I want this, meh.
What else are we supposed to do? We got to talk about Hearthstone every week, of course. Like, give me everything I want, damn it.
Yeah.
All you're missing there is an or else.
Or else. Wonderful. Don't give Dills your address, any Blizz tabs. Don't do it. So, Dills, did you put this in here? You wanted to give a shout out to a tournament site?
Oh yeah, so I kind of want feedback from our community about this, because I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Okay. But anybody who's doing cool things like this, I would love to give a shout out. We should probably maybe throw something in similar to what we do on the instance, which is the drop of the week type thing, because there are a lot of things popping up. But this is a tournament site where basically you can log in anytime you want, put in your battle tag, and join like little 8-man tournaments. There's no money or anything; they're just for fun. But I'm going to definitely test this out at some point, probably on stream. And it is www.hstrny.com, which is like Hearthstone Tourney, if you think about it. So we'll link it in the show notes and all that. But basically, you pop in there and you say join, and then you wait for it to fill up, and then it tells you who to play. You friend them, you play them, then you say I won or lost or whatever, and then you go on to the next one. And this is like 24 hours a day. This is going. It's just a site that just runs itself. So
Yeah, it looks like it
it's
has
a great way to
an,
test decks out and stuff.
it looks like it's an internal point system and a leaderboard as well. So
Exactly. Yeah. So
looks like it has
cool.
built-in bragging rights, which I'm all for.
Yeah, and it's not something you don't have to buy into these tournaments. You're not going to win money, but it's a fun way to like test out your decks and do all kinds of stuff like that. So I would love to hear what some of our fans and people who listen to this show think about this site, and check it out and let us know, because I'm interested in more stuff like this happening, and it's just a really cool idea. So I want to give them a little shout out.
Sweet. Go check it out. hstrny.com. All right. Well, let's move from news straight into strategies.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
So iHeartU had a really good post, I believe today? This is pretty fresh.
No. Oh, was it? No,
Yesterday.
it was
Yesterday.
Yeah.
About legendary replacements.
Yeah, which is something people have asked us about a lot. And when I saw this article, I thought this would be a great topic to talk about, because all the time people are like, Dills, link your deck. Tell me about this deck you're playing, whatever. And then they're like, oh, I don't have that card. What should I put in? So I think this is just kind of a worthy topic to discuss, because there are cards that will somewhat do what the legendary does, and you can kind of still build the deck and just kind of figure out another way to do things. So
Right.
And what I really liked about this specific guide is that it not only told you what you could potentially replace the legendary with, but it also said why. Like it gave them things like utility or removal or finisher and kind of the role of the legendary card to help you out with making your own choices, as opposed to just saying, like replace Blood Mage with something else that does spell damage or whatever. It really gave you a better idea to help with your own deck building, as opposed to just the straight up replacements.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's also good. Like we get emails from people who aren't quite sure why a legendary is so good. You're like looking through this, you're like, oh, Blood Mage is clearly good because he combines a Kobold Geomancer with a Loot Hoarder.
Yeah. But it's we probably don't have time to go through every single one of these, but there's some major ones in here that are kind of like the really popular ones that are constantly, being replaced by certain cards, and a lot of new players may not know what card that might be. So yeah, you can't craft a Blood Mage, pop a Kobold in there. Fine, you still get a 2-mana spell damage buff, or a Loot Horror, whatever it might be, whatever you think is more valuable in your deck. So I think this is really good information, and big shout out to the Water Boiler for writing this article. It's really good stuff. So I guess we should just go through it, man. I'll skip over some stuff that's like, these are just not popular cards. But we just mentioned Blood Mage. Pretty obvious. Kobold is, 2-mana spell damage. And Loot Hoarder. So, you can't do both, but you choose one or the other. And I would probably in most cases go for the Kobold, because I do think that the reason for Blood Mage being in there is the spell damage. If you need the spell damage, he's a little more important. So that's a good replacement. We can skip over Lore Walker. It's just a weird card. It's not going to be in any competitive decks right now.
Same with Millhouse.
Yeah, Millhouse as well. Nat Peggle, if you're playing a Shaman, you have an automatic replacement for Nat Peggle, and that is the Manatide Totem. It's 3 mana, 0/3 that draws a card every turn. So
Guaranteed.
That's your instant replacement for Peggle. Still not quite as good, I think, just because of the 3 health. But also you can easily throw in Novice Engineers or Loot Hoarders. But the other option, I think, is Acolyte of Pain, because Acolyte of Pain gives you an opportunity to draw more than one card. And that's what Peggle really gives you, is an opportunity to draw multiple cards, right? So I think Acolyte fits that mold a little bit.
Have you guys had success running the Acolyte in anything other than a Mage deck? Because, the Mage can ping it for 1 health and potentially get 3 card draws out of it. But have you had any luck with anything else?
Not since the old days of
would run it. Rogues were running this card for a while, because Rogues run a lot of buff cards. So they run a lot of Defender of Argus and Dark Iron Dwarfs and stuff like that. So they work there. And then also you see them in Warrior decks, because Warriors have things like Whirlwind. So you can use them there as well to give yourself another card. Also, you can run them in a deck where you're using Wild Pyromancer, because you can pop it down, Wild Pyro, cast a spell, do damage to your own guy. But they do make the most sense in mage decks that are just trying to draw to their burn. So let's see, King Mukla. King Mukla is actually doing a little bit of work these days. I just did a session with somebody who had donated to the stream, and we were building a Druid deck, and he didn't have some of the legendaries I was suggesting, but he had Mukla, and I was like, you know what, Mukla actually works pretty well, because what he gives you is it's 5/5 for 3, and then the bananas, but the bananas are 1/1 for 1 basically, and they're less efficient than Mukla is. So you're still getting more bang for your buck, or more bang for your mana. But
I love Mukla.
he's such a fun card, yeah.
Yeah.
Chillwind Yeti and Injured Blademaster, I think, are very good replacements for this. Blademaster is also 3 mana. Chillwind is 4, but Chillwind's a little closer as far as stats go. So those will work just fine.
And Chillwind actually comes up a few times throughout this deck. So, I mean, if you're looking for neutral cards to craft, there's 2 or 3 that come up multiple times that you can use as replacements, and Chillwind is definitely one of them. So if you haven't crafted at least 1, if not 2, then think about it.
I've seen
it's a basic card.
So many Chillwind Yetis this week. Yeah, and you can't craft a Chillwind Yeti.
Can't craft this one, sorry.
No, it's free. You have it. So it's a fantastic card. It's like hugely back. I mean, almost
ever
every
since
deck
Defender of Argus got nerfed, and now this guy is back.
Yeah.
I keep not putting him in just because I'm just like, no, I see him everywhere. There's got to be something else.
Copying.
Exactly.
He's boring. He's 4/5 and does nothing.
Yeah, he has no text. I don't play with cards with no text.
I don't get to make a decision with him. I just put him on the board and hope he lives.
He's so good, guys. You got to use him. Tankmaster Overspark, Spellbreaker, or Cobra. The reason why you didn't throw something like the Owl in here is because the Owl is 2 mana, 2/1, so it's not quite giving you the same effect. It's just so weak, whereas a Spellbreaker gives you that 4/3 body. But again, there's nothing really that replaces this unless you are a Shaman or a Mage, because then you've got Polymorph and Hex.
Yeah, Polymorph's
just straight up
a little more
turn something into
expensive, though.
something else. Yeah, they're expensive, and they don't give you a creature. However, they never turn it into a 5/5, so there's that.
That's very true.
There's a trade-off there. Leroy is another extremely popular card in a lot of decks because 6 damage for 4 mana, so it's really good as a finisher. But you can get away with Arcane Golem, which is a rare, or Reckless Rocketeer, which is totally a basic card.
Yeah, that's what I've been running as my finisher in the Rogue deck that I'm about ready to shred in anger.
Yeah, not working out, huh?
No.
The Reckless Rocketeer is a basic card too, so everybody has it.
Yeah, you combo the Reckless Rocketeer with a Cold Blood, and you've got a finisher for a Rogue deck.
Yeah, that's 7 mana. What is it? 6 mana? It costs 6 mana, right?
6 mana plus a Cold Blood, and you got yourself 9
so
damage.
7 mana do 9 damage. Not bad.
Yeah, Leroy's better.
I'm not even going to talk about Old Merc Guy. Screw you if you're playing Murlocs. I'm sorry. Let's see. Captain Greenskin. All right, Captain Greenskin is an interesting card. It's a 5/4 that gives your weapon +1/+1.
He's a pirate that people actually use.
Yeah, he's okay.
Topical.
I think that someone in the chat just mentioned the Argent Commander. The reason I wouldn't say Argent Commander replaces Leroy is because he's 6 mana, and only 4 damage, so he doesn't quite fit the mold. He does a little less damage than you want, so it's more of a removal card, not a finisher card. So Captain Greenskin is basically upgrade plus. Let's see, what's a 5/4? Upgrade plus the Panda, the 5/4 Panda, right? I mean, in one card basically. But you can get away with Spiteful Smith because Spiteful Smith buffs your weapon, so it doesn't give you the extra durability, but it does give you the extra attack as soon as you can get it enraged. So it's I like that suggestion. Elite Torn Chieftain we don't need to talk about.
Harrison
Jones
Skip.
is easy.
He's a bad card. Don't play him.
Yeah, whatever. Play him in a fun deck. Harrison Jones is pretty simple. It's Swamp Ooze. Swamp Ooze is just a good card. So I think Swamp Ooze is better than Harrison Jones. So
I do too. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, so don't even run Harrison. He's a sideboard card. If you're in a sideboard tournament and you know you're playing a weapon deck, Harrison would be fine. But
Yep.
Karen Bloodhoof. This is a tough one to replace because
He's just awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of people would say, oh, it's 8-10 worth of stats. It's really like a 4-10. Really, I mean, a lot of times it gets killed by some sort of a spell or something before it summons, in second form.
You don't usually get 2 swings in with this guy.
No, yeah, but it's 2 Yetis for 6 mana. I mean, it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
But Boulder Fist Ogre, I think, is a really good suggestion here if you don't have Karen, because it's almost the amount of stats. It's coming in a little short, but 6/7 for 6 is pretty close. So you'll do pretty well with that. The other good thing about Boulder Fist, he comes in under the 7 attack big game hunter plateau, if you will.
Yep.
So he can't get killed for free like that, which is pretty good.
And he doesn't feel wonderful to use Tinkmaster on either because he has no effect. Yeah. It's
exactly.
like
He's a Yeti.
If he turns into a 5/5, he's only doing 1 less damage. Like, yeah, Boulder Fist actually it's an underrated card.
Yeah, I know. It's actually Trump put him in he had a bunch of like basic decks he built for a while, and he was in like every single one of those because it's a great card. I pick it all the time in Arena.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah, good stuff there. So definitely that will somewhat replace a Karen. Skipping over Gelbin, if you don't have him, spend $1.99 to get into an Arena or buy 1 pack, you'll have him.
But yeah, he's also honestly not that great of a card. I mean, he's well costed. He says 6/6 for 6, but
yeah, and sometimes he pulls out a chicken thing and turns you into a chicken. And
he's fun. He's meant to be fun.
Exactly.
Like the Tauren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hogger is not a very popular card either, so not a lot of people are going to deal with the ability, like, oh, I don't have Hogger and I'm trying to copy this deck. So, Silverhand Knight kind of is the same thing, and really Hogger is kind of a weaker Silverhand Knight because most of the time it'll die anyway, and it costs 1 more mana. So even though it can continue to spit out the 2/2s, I don't know. I think Silverhand's a better card.
Yeah.
In general.
When Hogger works, it works really well. I've run it in a couple of different decks, but you're right, it does die pretty quickly.
Yeah,
he has that hidden text that says dies. He's him and the knife juggler just have a party in hell together.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so sorry, Undead Goat. We are just making you work so hard right now, aren't we?
Undead Goat, by the way, to the podcast listeners, is the champion of our chat room who links cards as we talk about them.
She is amazing.
She's my favorite.
Let's see. Illidan Stormrage. This is kind of a card that at this point is not used very much at all, but it basically pops out 2/1s every time you use a card. And if you have Violet Teacher or Imp Master or any kind of card that summons a token would be fine as a replacement for Illidan. Again, you're not going to see Illidan really, so you're not going to find a lot of decks where you need to find a replacement. Sylvanas is an interesting one. What do you guys think about the suggestion of Sunwalker as a replacement for Sylvanas?
Without that mind control, I mean, that's really what makes Sylvanas so awesome, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times you play Sylvanas when your opponent has board control. And Sunwalker is absolutely a good minion to play when your opponent has board control.
True. I think I do see that the reason for this being because a lot of times when you play Sylvanas, the answer for Sylvanas is to just run all your creatures into her. So in that way, Sunwalker kind of fits the mold where you throw down Sunwalker and a couple of creatures have to run into the Sunwalker.
Yeah.
And so in that way, it does affect the board in a similar fashion. But
yeah. I mean, obviously the big difference is that hard removal deals with Sunwalker. Like an Assassinate kills Sunwalker and nothing bad happens. Whereas if you assassinated Sylvanas and you had board control, one of your minions is going to your opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the more obvious answer is there's really not a replacement for Sylvanas. She's really a one of a kind card.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is about as close as I think you can get, and I think it's correct.
Yeah, and for everyone, I still hear from people taking Sylvanas out of their decks. I think you're crazy.
Yeah,
She's
Sylvanas is
such
still
a
in
good
almost all
card.
of my decks. Yeah.
Yeah.
She just comes out and she changes the whole state of the board. So,
Yeah. Plus,
Beast
she's
is
the
also a card
Banshee-
you're not going to
Banshee
see
Queen.
very
Come on.
much. So, no real reason to worry about this one. But Core Hound, I guess that's fine. Core Hound sucks. Beast sucks. Just don't even worry about it.
But it's a 97 for 6.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I actually did select it once in an arena run and got some value out of it because I think I already had like a Spellbreaker and 2 Owls or something. So I was able to silence my own Beast a lot of times. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's not a good
See.
card.
It summons Finkel Einhorn, man.
Yeah, I took away your Finkel. I'm sorry.
Finkel is Einhorn.
So Black Knight is another one here. This is actually a really popular card. It's basically the idea of Black Knight is get through taunts, but really the big deal with Black Knight is the outright removal of the taunt. So it's a tough one to replace. As good as you can really do is Spellbreaker. Stampeding Kodo is maybe an option, but what taunt are you really going to get rid of with Kodo? A Voidwalker.
What 2-attack taunter is really giving you that much hell?
It's a Voidwalker. That's like the only taunt that has less than 1 that you're going to see. So,
Yeah,
or less than 2.
And on top of that, it's random. So
yeah, exactly.
So if you're playing against a token deck, it's just like, well, I hope it kills the thing I want to die.
Baron Geddon. Another
Get rid
card
of
you're
it.
not going to see very much. But I think A-Bomb is a good suggestion here.
I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about Tank Master. I shredded my 3rd Baron Geddon this weekend and made myself a Tank Master.
Okay. Great. Well, that's why I said welcome to 50/50 Club, because now you're part of the coin flippers.
I am.
So enjoy it.
We have shirts.
I'm getting tons of value out of my Tank Master in my Priest deck I'm playing right now. And people who are watching my stream just saw me get like sick value out of it over and over again. So such a good card.
Yeah.
Let's see. Beargeddon Abomination. Good call. Ragnaros. Boulder Fist Ogre, maybe? I don't know. It's not really a good replacement for Ragnaros either.
We're starting to get into the section where like the high cost legendaries are just there aren't really any replacements, they're legendary for a reason, they're high cost for a reason. So I mean, you got to cut them some slack.
Yeah.
Like some of these, there is no straight up replacement, and you just have to, do the best you can.
Yeah, nothing really like acts as Ragnaros. I mean, nothing's shooting off 8 random damage anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they suggest Boulder Fist Ogre, which is probably a good, because I mean, it has the same effect. You see a 6/7 come out, you're just like, that needs to die. It needs to die now.
The Giants could be somewhat of a replacement for Rag.
Yeah,
I mean, the 8/8 Giants, they're 8/8s. They can do 8 damage, so that's also an option, but they don't fit into every deck. Like
plus, I don't think any of the suggestions they were suggesting here are epics. I think everything's rare.
No,
or
I
below.
think everything is
they're
rare or
either
lower.
rares or lower. Yeah, so makes sense. But Alex Straza is another one. What do you really do with Alex Straza? Alex Straza, though, I do like what the author says about Alex Straza, which is it affects the health of either you or your opponent. So basically, a card that does a similar effect is kind of what you're looking for. So they recommend Nightblade or Priestess of Elune, which is basically Nightblade damages the opponent as it comes out. Priestess heals you as it comes out. So in a sense, you're kind of getting a lesser version.
Not the same thing.
It's completely different, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Alex Straza falls into, I think, Sylvanas territory, where it's just like either you have Alex Straza or you don't. Yeah.
There's not really much to do here, but it's one of those cards. It's very specific decks utilize Alex Straza. So if you don't have the card that is utilized in that deck, maybe just try a different deck or something until you get her. Malagos, not really a big replacement for this either, because it's 5 spell damage, but you can put spell damage creatures in. Archmage is fine, I guess, and Azure Drake. Let's see. Nosdormu, who cares? Nobody plays that. Onyxia, Boulder Fist Ogre again. You're talking just put big creatures out. Ysera, same. Big creatures. Deathwing, same. So, guess what, guys? Boulder Fist Ogre, if you don't have these, is a big choice. And I agree with that. It's if you don't have these cards, probably a Boulder Fist is going to work out for you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. Not everyone's going to have all the legendaries, but the legendaries are like, I want to address this. The legendaries are even though they're legendary and even though they're really good, they are balanced with all the other cards to a degree. So no single legendary is just like a win card. Oh, I put Rag in my deck is unbeatable. That's just not how it works. However, that being said, they're good.
They are good, but there are a lot of answers and a lot of low-cost answers. I mean, like we've talked about, maybe not necessarily for some of the 4-attack dragons at the end here, but I mean, there's Big Game Hunter for all those big attack cards. There's, the owl to silence things. And, there are some answers that are lower costs and, commons and all the rest of it. So, yeah, legendaries make it fun.
Yeah, exactly. We need them. So,
yeah.
The one thing that you'll notice here is none of these are the class-specific legendaries. They just didn't talk about those because those are kind of on a unique kind of plane. They're way different than these neutral legendaries, and it's less of a big deal of like these aren't being used in every deck. Really you're only going to see Tyrion as a class-specific. I mean, you'll see like Van Cleef and stuff like that, but most of the class-specific legendaries are not in high use, so they're not the big problem of how to replace them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry I talked so much so fast. I was trying to get through them really quickly, so I need a drink of beer now. Delicious beer.
It's good stuff. Yeah, all in all, it's a good stuff. I'm loving my Tankmaster, by the way. I can see why everyone is sick to death of seeing it.
It's so good, man. So good. Yeah, I Tankmaster your Tyrion, I Tankmaster your Sylvanas, Tankmaster your Rag, whatever the hell you throw out there. I got an answer.
I have not been running it in my Shaman deck, though. So
really? Okay.
Hex is better.
Yeah, well, Hex is better.
Every way, shape, and form.
But it's a third Hex. You have 3 hexes
I don't
now.
need a third Hex. I don't really need a third Hex. Like
sometimes you do. When they put out Cairn, then Sylvanas, then Ragnaros, you're like, damn, I wish I had a third Hex right now.
This is a good point.
Yeah, and that happens. So.
I feel like having 3 hard removals is just like,
yeah.
I'm not sure because the Shaman, it's like slow already.
True.
So
true. Shaman is making such a comeback right now, though. We just talked about it last week, and then I swear, I think we did it, you guys. I think it was us.
We were talking about Overload specifically,
now are Shamans.
But yeah, I'm hoping that we really motivated people to learn Overload and play it right.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's a really strong class. So,
super good.
Big thank you to the Water Boiler for this article. It's great. Everyone go check it out. It's going to be linked in the show notes and all that too. So for the podcast listeners.
Yeah. Bonus mini strategy before we end this: ancestral spirit. Put it on your Earth Elemental, or in best case scenario, Cairn, and then watch Dills go. Expletive. What do I do now?
Yeah,
and then he figures it out and he wins,
and it's all good.
So, yeah. Dills and I had a rough night playing against Dills the other night. It was bad. So
yeah, that was pretty rough. You were getting the short end of the stick there.
Then
we started doing random decks, and it was like your decks were just all worse than mine.
They were just bad. It was awful. I won 1 game all night, including the random games.
Oh man. Well, we'll see how it goes with the chicken off, though.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's a totally different game. All new ball game. Yeah.
I feel like it's going to go about the same. All right, let's get into some crazy game stories.
The whole world gone crazy.
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
Should be happier. This is a fun segment, Draxus. First, crazy game story comes to us from a listener this week from J.M. Tibbles.
Oh, J.M. Tibbles, my man.
J.M. Tibbles. And Dills, I'm going to let you take this because he titled this Milkshake Drinking at Its Finest.
Okay. J.M. Tibbles says, hey, Tack Crew. Here's my crazy game story.
Maybe I should read from way back here.
I was quick leveling after the reset with my cheap Warlock Murloc deck. Oh, God damn it. Somebody else read this.
You're boycotting it because he was playing a Warlock Murloc deck?
I boycott this email right now. No, I'll read it. Okay. He came across a priest. Turn 6, had him down to 11 life when I summoned Elite Tauren Chieftain. Wow, awesome. If you have a Murloc deck with that in it, then okay, I forgive you. Then I dropped Murloc Tidecaller and coined Grimscale Oracle. Turn 7, the priest thought steals me and drops a Tidecaller he took. And Power Word deaths the ETC, the Elite Tauren Chieftain. Turn 7, I play War Leader, and I am Murloc. Fill my board, attack his face down to 1 health. Turn 8, he plays his own War Leader that he also stole, and his own I am Murloc that the Elite Torn Chieftain gave him. Summoning 5 Murlocs, which brought his Tide Caller up to 19 attack. Hit me in the face with it to bring me down to 1, and holy smited me, Dennis style, in the face for the win. He drank my milkshake. He drank it up. Love the show. Keep it up. Happy birthday, Dills. Oh, thanks, James Tibbles.
You deserved it, J.M. Tibbles, and thank you for owning up to it, because this is a fun story.
That's why I really like this story, is because he was just like, not usually the crazy game stories that we get, which are awesome, are a lot of like, this is what I did and I totally killed my opponent with the blah. And it's actually really cool to be like, all right, yeah, he hit me right in the face.
Yeah. It's you don't often see the I lost crazy game story.
Exactly.
Let me tell you guys real quick. I actually have one that just happened. I was playing a shaman. I'm playing my priest deck. I play Nat Pagal. He plays Nat Pagal. He silences my Nat Pagal and plays a Manatide Totem. And I have no way to kill either of these things, right? So I then decide, I make a conscious decision, I'm just going to let these live. And I'm going to see if I could deck this guy. Then proceeded to have all sorts of craziness go on throughout the game. Just like I had like Shadow Madness things, and at one point I pulled like spell power. I actually thought stole his Blood Mage Thalnos, was able to get like a 3 damage Holy Nova off. I had a Shadow Madness and then put one of his Rockbiter weapons on a dude, and then Crazed Alchemist it to kill his like 6 health guy. It was like insane what was going on. Actually get to the end, he puts a Gadgetzan Auctioneer on the board, and then is out of cards because I let those 2 cards just live. He drew his entire deck. And he ended up having to hex one of my dudes, and it drew him a card. He took damage. Then he like realized, oh, I'm screwed, and he cast another spell and just killed himself. It was like the best game ever. I had no way to deal with his drawing mechanism, so I just let them live, and it actually turned out pretty good. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was insane.
I think we need.
Oh, that's right, the Moncrief. If you were in there, I actually also Shadow Priested his Blood Mage. So I took both of his Blood Mages. Yeah. So good. So good.
Great. Yeah, we haven't talked about it on this show, but you're rocking a new weird F the meta priest deck that is actually quite fun.
It is the best deck ever, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's working right now. I went on like 2 win streaks with this thing, so I'm going to stick with it until I run into a wall, and then we'll see. Nice. But I'll share it too. I'll post it somewhere for everybody to see.
Cool. Jocelyn, you can take the first Angry Chicken Invitational crazy game story.
Awesome, because I was in chat when this happened, and the entire stream just went crazy because I've first of all never seen Deathwing actually played before, so that was awesome for me. But the whole entire thing was just ridiculous. So AP Drop and Christopher were playing in the first round, and so AP Drop plays all of his cards, which was 2 Argent Squires, an Azure Drake, Blood Mage Thalanos, and the Black Knight. Christopher had no cards except for his Deathwing. So turn 10 happens, and so not only does he drop the Deathwing, but he threatens beforehand, and I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Deathwing gets rid of your hand.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
like, this is the best possible scenario anyone could ever be in with Deathwing. You have 1 card in your hand, it's Deathwing, and your opponent just played every card in his hand. So he's not going to have a hand
he had
when you
nothing
clear the
on
board.
the board either. So,
Right.
he wasn't destroying anything except for his 1 Dark Iron Dwarf that he'd just drawn. And I mean, really, at that point, who cares?
Yeah. You're like, well, I've got Deathwing and he has nothing in his hand. This is the best time to play this.
Yeah, so actually, I had a question for you guys before I actually finish off the story, because if I went back and I was watching the video, and it doesn't say anything on Deathwing, but it actually gave AP Drop a card, because out of nowhere, Leroy pops up, and then he top deck Kingmaster.
He killed
his
Blood
Blood
Mage
Mage
Thanos, which draws a card when it dies.
Oh, okay, because I was like,
Yeah.
I could not put that together. Okay, so anyways.
So the Blood Mage died, and that's what got him to Leroy, and then it was
Right.
when his turn started, then he got the next card.
Right,
which
Which
was
was
so
the
then,
top deck from
yeah. So
hell.
then he pulls Tankmaster, and then so to add insult to injury in this whole entire thing, Deathwing turns into a squirrel.
Yep.
Which was just
Doesn't even get the 5-5.
not even
He
the
gets a
5-5,
1-1.
the 1-1 squirrel. And then AP Drop came back to win it with Leroy. And that was amazing. And I've never seen so many Leroys ever. Like, it seemed like every single game ended with Leroy.
This was the baddest beat I've seen in Hearthstone so far.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. I really felt for Kister at that moment because he did. It was like the perfect storm for Deathwing
Yeah.
and Tankmaster. So,
It was pretty amazing. Pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah. But you know what, though? There was even crazier stuff that happened in the Angry Chicken Invitational. We
Yeah.
had some really insane games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one of the crazy things that happened, we had AP Drop facing the Savages. AP Drop playing
Oh,
Mage.
sorry, Saveech or Saveets.
I have gone around, and I haven't heard anyone actually call him that. Everything I've watched after you told me I was pronouncing it wrong, everyone's calling him Savages.
Watch the new Fight Night because they clearly asked him how he wanted it said.
So
He-
why doesn't he
says
correct
doesn't care.
anyone?
He doesn't. He says he doesn't care, but you know, apparently we were saying it wrong the whole time.
Saveech?
Oh, well. Saveech, yeah,
Saveech.
yeah. I think.
J and a
I don't
Z
know. I
make
still
a
don't even know.
ICH sound. Didn't know this. Okay. Anyway, Mage versus Druid. I'm calling him Savages, goddammit.
I was going to say, this is going to be a really fun story.
Savages played Ancient of War and rooted him, so he was a 5/10 with taunt. AP Drop buffed his Loot Hoarder with the Dark Iron Dwarf and attacked for 4, then Frost bolted for 3 more damage. Savages then healed the Ancient of War, played a Faceless Manipulator, and had 2 5/10s with taunt on the board. So, yeah.
Yeah, AP Drop
Oh,
literally opened chat.
Yeah, he opened
Open
chat and
chat,
typed
yeah.
"Welp." AP Drop goes straight to the face with his with a pyro. Then Savages pulls and plays a rag. Between rag, the ancients, and a hero power next turn, and that was the end of that game.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, at that point, AP Drop really didn't have any choices. His choice was to use pyro just to kill one of those 5/10s, and the problem for him is he's a mage. Like that completely neuters him as how he's gonna, like, his win condition is gone if he's doing that.
Yeah.
So he decided, screw it. I guess I'm just gonna take my chances and go straight to the face with these. And unfortunately, it didn't work
It
out
did
for
not
him.
pay off.
No.
No.
No, but there's one thing we
That was
learned about
pretty
AP Drop is that guy YOLOs with the best of them, and we should not give away his last play
No.
because everyone should watch that for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Go watch the Angry Chicken Invitational. We'll
There's
we'll make
one
a,
more better play that happened in that tournament.
Yeah, you can go to twitch.tv/AMoveTV right now and go to the highlights section to see the entire tournament as it stands. But it will be up on YouTube, cut up and easier to watch soon. We just not 100% sure when, but we'll let you know.
Yeah.
So let's round the show out with some emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. Our first email today comes to us from Bryce, I don't know, Brys. He says, hey guys. and
Pronounce Saveech.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know. Says, hey guys and Jocelyn, I've started playing more constructed after the recent reset, and I'm not sure where to start to put together a good couple of decks. Dills often mentions finding new decks, but I don't see a link to them on the latest show notes. Where do you find new decks? And when you mention cool new decks, could you link to them from the show notes?
I guess it just seems like a lot of work, man.
Dills
Yeah,
doesn't
absolutely.
actually do work.
No. I just make stuff up and I say it, and then people believe me. It's actually net decking. Sorry, net decking is a big deal in Hearthstone because, and it's a big deal
I
in Magic.
totally had to look up what that meant because I was like, I saw it like 3 or 4 times a day, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
It means looking up a deck on the internet.
basically, it's not just looking up the deck on the internet, but it's everybody collaborating,
Collaborating.
and copying decks from each other. So it's how people who maybe aren't very familiar with the mechanics of building a deck on their own come up with something that is competitive. So they copy from people who are good at it, and that's just how it works in like any card game, really. Magic, like I think almost all the time, right? I mean, Garrett, you can speak to this.
Yeah,
everyone's playing like the same deck in a tournament.
Again, I don't play a lot of constructed. I play draft and sealed, but to my knowledge, I mean, you can go to any Magic tournament website and you can find deck lists for who won. Recently, there's been the red deck wins. It's like the cheapest constructed deck you can put together. It's still like $500
anytime there's a tournament, oftentimes you see the decks will be posted. When I did the Mana Grind tournament, they emailed me and they said, give me your deck list, and so the top 4 decks all went up like that night. So it's a good idea to go check out tournament winning decks, because oftentimes they're very current. They're actually going to work in the meta of that moment. So and a lot of times they'll just get copied too, and you'll start seeing them all over the place. So
what are the tournaments that are the deck lists that hold the most sway for you? Because clearly, Angry Chicken Invitational, not current. Not use those deck lists at all.
WTF, how old is this?
Or even ESGN Fight Nights are not really current when they finally come out. So what do you go to, like Mana Grind? Is that the one you use?
Mana Grind is Mana Grind. Basically any tournament that's going on at the moment, but Mana Grind has a lot of them. Yeah. They're pretty much doing tournaments like 3 times a week, I think, at this point. So there's a lot of stuff there. You can also go to iHearthU, Hearthpwn, Hearthhead, all have like deck lists, and you can look at like the most popular decks of the moment. And that's really where I find them. Also watching streams. Most streamers at this point are posting their deck lists on the screen, or they have like links to them below the stream. So it's just, we kind of just got to get out there and find them, honestly. Everyone's posting them all over the place. It's hard to say this is the one place to go find decks. Just look at all of them. And also there's actually if you go to r/Hearthstone, which is the Reddit for Hearthstone, you can find them there. But there's also a Hearthstone deck list subreddit, which I'm not sure what the actual name of that subreddit is, but I think it might just be.
I didn't know that.
Hearthstone deck lists. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of places to find them. So
yeah. I mean, we've talked about iHearthU twice today. That's a good site to check out. But I read a lot of Liquid Hearth. I don't necessarily go there for deck lists, but Liquid Hearth is an extension of TeamLiquid.net, which is a huge esports site for StarCraft and now Dota 2, and now they have a Hearthstone site.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good discussion going down there.
Oh, Wumpai just posted our Hearth decks. Thank you. And Mana Grind is now part of Hearthpwn. So if you go to hearthpwn.com, you can find them there. So
yeah.
Lots of good places. You can also go to my stream. I post them in there.
Yep. Yeah. And if you want to talk to other fans of the Angry Chicken, go to forum.amove.tv and talk on our forums.
There you go. It's a great. I mean, I think honestly, net decking is a good thing for the game, because it gets people discussing current decks, and you take a deck that someone already built and you tweak it to make it more your own. And so that's kind of how decks get refined over time. Somebody comes up with an idea, other people take it and they go, what would be better here is this, and then it slightly changes over time. So that's how the meta continues to shift, basically.
I've kind of come around on this, because for a very, very long time I was saying, it feels like cheating. But I mean, as long as, like, the way that I've kind of come to look at it is, I don't necessarily pull from the tournament decks. I really actually enjoy Hearthhead because there's so many filters. It's all user submitted. They do have the community managers submitting some of the tournament decks, but they can be upvoted and downvoted. And I find it's a really good tool. And some of those user created ones I find a little bit easier to tweak. And so taking those and making them your own is actually a really good way to learn how a lot of the things go together and what you may prefer to play, like, as your play style. So yeah, that's mine anyways. Come around.
that's a good suggestion too. But just be aware that some of those decks are pretty old. So
Well, yeah.
when you
But they
look at
have all
them,
they have the what patch they were created in though down on the right hand side, so you can pick the ones from the most recent patch, and they're actually like highlighted green, so you can see like this is current.
yeah, exactly. So I recommend when you check them out, make sure you're paying attention to when somebody when somebody created it and stuff like that, because there's a lot of great stuff in there. But some people update them, some people don't. So like there's still, I think some of the most popular decks there are the BlizzCon decks, which are so old at this point. WTF, how old are those, man? Jeez. But yeah, good suggestion for sure.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Check it out. Dills, you want to take the next email?
Sure. This is from Chad H. He says, I have a question on how the observer mode would work. I could see it being used as a way to cheat. What would stop someone from having two accounts and having the second account observe your match? You'd be able to see your opponent's hand let the show.
It's very easy.
I feel like we addressed this already, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's an incredibly easy fix. In StarCraft, you can't observe when you're on ladder.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Done.
Yeah.
It's just for pre-made games for tournament settings.
Basically, the way it would work really, there's in StarCraft, there's two things. There's observer, right? But you have to get invited, don't you, to like watch two people play a game unless they make it a public game.
Right, but
and then there's replay.
It is literally impossible to observe a ladder game.
Yeah,
you
and
can't
then
do it.
there's the replay function where they take a game that happened, and then they have basically a fraps of it, just a video, and then that video can then be like given to a caster to cast the game.
It's not a video; it's actually like recreated in game in real time, so you can move the camera wherever the hell you want.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's a straight up new version of it where you control as the observer what you're looking at, which obviously they don't need in Hearthstone, but it's cool. I mean, Hearthstone I think would be cool to have like things like full histories of what's happened and things like that, so you might see some of that in there. But it's not. There's no way Blizzard puts out a version of this where people can cheat. It's just not going to happen.
It's simple. You just don't allow it during ranked play.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would love for them to allow it during unranked because I don't know. I think coaching purposes that would be awesome, but I don't see it ever happening.
Yeah,
because I don't even think they want people being able to cheat even in unranked because there's trolls and they'll do it.
Yeah, but again though, you solve that by just being like, I invite you to watch. If I say to
well, no, because you can invite a second
Dota
account.
does this, right? Like
no,
that time when we played and who was it, Kyle?
It was a bot match.
Okay, yeah, sure, but I mean, like, it wouldn't really matter if I'm the player and I say I want to invite this person to watch. I'm obviously not going to invite the person I'm playing against.
Well, no, but then it's not fair to the person that you're playing against because they're playing against two people
on
instead
ladder.
of one person.
Exactly,
yes,
exactly.
And what's to stop you from inviting yourself on a second account and seeing their hand?
No, I guess that's true. Yeah. So yeah, on ladder, no.
You do it from replays and you do it for pre-made games against friends.
Yeah, exactly.
What about instituting a delay so you could have an observer mode that's say like 2 minutes behind because that's how long it takes to take a turn? Like fully public real-time observer mode just with a delay.
Time shifted. Doable.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Well, so Valkyrion in chat just made a good point. If both players accept the invite, then who really cares, right? It's got to be up to both players. So that would work for things like tournaments and stuff. But again, that's a friendly game. That's not going to be a ranked play. So.
Yeah, in tournament game, in StarCraft, when you make a game for a tournament, like usually the guy that's observing like hosts the game, like they put everything together, and then they invite the players, and everyone gets logged in, and you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times in StarCraft for major tournaments, you have more than one observer, so you can do cuts and stuff.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And Valkyrie makes another good point. You play against a streamer, you're playing against him and his entire stream sometimes because he misses lethal, and the whole chat is like, "Dude, you have lethal," So
I keep saying that streaming your game is one of the best ways to learn because even if you have 3 people, one of those 3 is gonna berate you just relentlessly.
It's gonna catch something you miss. Yeah,
it's true. But this like what we're all like talking about right now is exactly the reason why this is not going to come out at launch because there's a lot of things that have to get discussed before.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly don't think that there's a lot of. I think they know what, as far as this is concerned, people, cheating.
Yeah, it's been done before.
They know
It's
what
not-
to do.
yeah.
That's not a discussion they have to
Yeah.
have. They
This
just,
isn't the first time, but it's a different game, so there's different ins and outs and stuff. So like
Well,
they're not going to put this out without thoroughly doing it right, you know.
Yeah.
And-
yeah. I mean, a lot of
And-
this stuff, it comes down to like, is this stuff even going to be a feature in the mobile version? Because it'd be really weird if it was. I could see that
Yeah,
being a
probably
problem.
not.
So then you have to have this discussion of what's available on the PC version, and what's not available on the mobile version.
yeah. I think, saving replays of your games is all you really need to do like tournaments and
Exactly.
casting and stuff. So
Yeah. And Undead Goat pointed out that even if you were 2 minutes behind, you can still see their hand, and you can see things like what secrets they've played and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
real-time
I mean-
stuff doesn't work as well in Hearthstone as it would in something like StarCraft. So
yeah, because I've held on to a Tink Master for the entire game.
Absolutely,
before,
yeah.
so
Or
they'll
you,
know
you
that,
get
you know.
unlucky and you
Yeah.
have Rag in your first hand after a mulligan. Like,
Yeah,
there's tons of cards that you hold on to all game. So
yeah,
time
exactly.
shifting really doesn't help in a card game.
yeah.
true
So,
that.
StarCraft, okay, yeah, 2 minutes behind, you're probably not on the up and up, but unless they've been hiding something for a long time, like really long. So, Jocelyn, you want to take the next email?
Absolutely. This one comes to us from Craig. He says, "Hey folks, just wanted to give a public shout out to Dills and let everyone know how awesome a personalized training session with him is. We
What?
spent time working on fundamentals, constructing deck building and arena draft. It was a great experience and well worth the donation. I was considering just buying decks with my money, but you can always earn cards and you can't earn a Dills."
Oh man, my little heart is bursting right now.
Which is why I threw it in, and then Garrett moved it down to the second page so you wouldn't see it.
I didn't move it down to the second page.
So,
I don't even read the show notes anyway, so you're not.
Yeah, no, he never does. I was like, oh, I'm totally going to get him with this one.
Next
So,
week, put one.
in
Just,
case. Sorry, what, Garrett?
I was gonna say next week, just put one in here where the guy's just like calling him out for being a big doo doo head.
Oh yeah, no, that I always read those though.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
fully aware.
So, in case other people are thinking of doing a session, maybe Dills could talk about the info, etc., that Craig sent ahead of time and how people might prepare so they get the most out of their time. Keep it up.
Thank you, Craig. This actually happened yesterday, and it was really fun. And I'll say this, I'll toot my own horn here for a moment.
Oh God, I burnt
During
your
all the
eyes.
On the stream, dude. On the
Yeah.
stream.
All the games that I've coached people on, I think only one guy has lost one game, and that was like 1 out of like 4 or something. Like as I coached them play games, yeah. So it was it's so far it's been really fun and it's been really successful. And Craig actually did a really cool thing too, because I often ask people what they want to work on, and he really came with like actual usable information. Like, I want to work on this specific deck, and I want to work on arena drafting. So it's very easy for me to kind of prepare before we start with a little bit of like knowledge of what, because I actually had one guy say I want to learn to make a mage deck. So I went and did some research on that. So yeah, it's if you want to do it, if anybody wants to do it, go to my stream, twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF, and all the information is below. It's basically for donations. It's the only way I can do it now. It's not really a donation. It's just purchasing a lesson. But if anybody wants them, they are available.
And apparently they're amazing.
Well, they're fun for me for sure. And so I'm really glad that Craig got a lot of value out of it too. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to make this more of a full-time gig for me. All of this stuff. It's a lot of stuff that has to happen for that to work. But this is one piece of it. So yeah, I appreciate if anybody wants it, let me know.
Yeah. Well, we've had as a show have been talking about doing a Patreon as well. So it's gonna.
I didn't know
help
if we
with
were
things a
supposed
lot.
to talk about that. People
We
were
can
asking about
talk
that
about
in
it
the
in
invitation.
passing. It's not up and running yet, but yeah, we're working on a Patreon. People have been asking about it, so people ask me on Twitter, and I've been replying to them like, "Yeah, we're absolutely working on one. We're just not ready to do it yet."
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly. But keep your eyes open, people, because we want to bring more content for you guys, and this is one way that it will allow us to do that.
Yep.
Because we work full-time jobs.
Yeah.
We asked, how old is this? Yeah, full-time jobs get in the way of production.
Someone asked. I was having discussions on Reddit today because people were talking about our tournament. One of the naysayers was saying that kind of stuff. I was like, and I replied to him. I was like, "I'm sorry that my boss doesn't give a crap that I need, a day off to work on a tournament. Like, it's not something I can do."
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I mean, this is why like we needed help from Gimps and stuff like to help us do this stuff, and thankfully we have people like Gimps and Undead Goat and people who are willing to help us out. So
yeah, and shout out to
really appreciate all that stuff.
Locke Vincent who's working on getting the YouTube version up and running. So
and Tash, of course.
Tash who helps us write the news section for every episode of the Angry Chicken.
He's awesome.
He always finds the good stuff too. Somehow every week he sends me something. I'm like, how the hell did I miss this? So,
you don't even read the news anymore. You just read the Angry Chicken notes, and you're like, sweet, got all my news.
I just know every Monday morning there's just going to be a waterfall of Hearthstone news.
See, or you could be like me and just be an Hearthstone junkie and just be on it all the time. It's all I just read it for now.
No, I read that, and I read Liquid Hearth a lot. So, yeah. Whoever made a Liquipedia, which is Team Liquid's Wikipedia page for tournaments, someone made an entry for the Angry Chicken Invitational. Thank you. They didn't finish it, though. So if you're a wiki expert, I am terrible at wikis. Please go in and fill that out. I would really appreciate it. So
it's cool that people got excited enough about it to actually start doing that. So he probably started it, and then he was like, "What 1-2 novice engineer?
How old is this? I'm not finishing this wiki."
Yeah.
No, I've talked to him on the thing. He's a nice guy. I think he just had to walk away and didn't see the rest of the results. But just go to liquidhearth.com, go to Liquipedia up at the top, and look for the Angry Chicken Invitational. If you're a wiki kind of guy, I'd appreciate that being filled out.
That would be cool.
That'll do it for today's episode. Thank you, those of you guys, words that make a complete sentence.
What happened to Garrett? What just happened to Garrett? Is he having
Someone put him at half speed.
You ever go to shuffle notes and then you start reading things before you have a
Garrett,
finished sentence?
Does it smell like peanuts? Are you tasting metal right now? Is everything okay over there?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks to those of you who left us 5-star reviews in the iTunes store. Anyone from Canada this week, Jocelyn?
Absolutely. Those Morg. Oh, I had it all figured out. It's
pronounced Saveech.
It's pronounced Saveech, yeah.
Says, simply amazing. Love the podcast. Driving from Saskatchewan to Nova Scotia, which is actually really, really, really far, guys.
No, Jocelyn, that says SK to NS.
Yeah,
I don't know what those two words are that you said. Oh. Oh, that's a Canadian thing. You got, okay. Yes. You were
Nova
speaking
Scotia's
Wookiee
where I live, dude. You should at least know that much. Come on.
It just sounded like Wookiee to me, so.
Oh. So for a move and was listening to the show for 12-hour driving sessions. So that is awesome. So thank you very much for the 5-star review.
That's a whole lot of our voices.
That's a lot.
Yeah. From the U.S. store, not the N.A. store. I've got this down.
Yes.
Thanks to Jedi Hero, who sounds like he has a crush on you, Jocelyn. Because he said that you're super cute. Thanks for tweeting me back the other day. That was really awesome and made my day.
Oh, man. Stalker time.
I'm going all blushy.
Yeah, Night Vale, Little Bear, Rylone, Sexy Nachos, and I love how they spelt sexy. SECKSY, Nachos. Oh, yeah, it's good stuff. Sergeant Zim and JM Kaiser 33 left a really nice review. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate all the reviews. It's awesome stuff, and if you're an iTunes listener, it helps us out a lot. So, there you go. The Angry Chicken, as always, is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. You can see more about this and all of the other AMove shows on amove.tv. I do a show about StarCraft. It's called StarCast. Jocelyn does an all-gaming podcast called The Gamers In. And there's a few other shows over there, so go check those out. Also, check out frogpants.com for all of the other shows on the Frog Pants Network. We record this show live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Same channel where the Angry Chicken Invitational was on. If you can't wait for the YouTube, you can go see it right there. The mobile stream is provided by Alpha Geek Radio, so go to mobile.alphageekradio.com. Our Twitter is @TAC Podcast. Mine is @GarrettArt. Dills is @WillyDills, and Jocelyn is @GISGamer. Thanks to Brian Griffith. He is the musician who makes our awesome intro music. Every episode, I tried not to just scream, "Are you ready to rock, Angry Chicken?" It's hard.
You totally should next time.
No. Do that every time from here on out.
It's ruined. Well, because then I'll just have no voice for the rest of the episode. And
That's okay. Dills and I can carry it.
That's true. Yeah, we got this.
So go to briangriffithmusic.com to see his work. And finally, check out nomoonart.com for my graphic design portfolio. Dills, where can people find you?
You can watch me stream Hearthstone on twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. You can also catch me Friday mornings on The Instance, which is a show about some game about orcs and humans doing stuff to each other. It's pretty. It's
Warhammer
It's not
Online?
PG, you guys, so just be careful. But yeah, it's good times. Me, Scott Terpster, we have fun on that, and you don't have to make one because we did it for you. Torturecast is also a podcast with the Giants, which is coming back soon because the Giants are coming back soon, and baseball is starting up again, so look out for that. And also the MGA is starting up its season. That's the Mediocre Golf Association, and we have 75 applications for new chapters. So
Wow.
if you want to start a chapter or join a chapter, you like to play golf and you're pretty bad at it like me, that's the place to be for that. And so check out mjtour.com, and you'll be able to. It'll be the funnest thing you've ever done in your life if you're a golfer. So do that.
Awesome. Check that out. And Jocelyn, how about you?
Everybody can find me right here on AMove TV. Everything I do is here, including the Gamers Inn, which goes live on Friday nights at 8:30 Eastern. You can also find my articles, editorials, game reviews, all that kind of fun stuff on Doghouse Network, which is just doghousenetwork.com. And follow me over on Twitter, which Garrett already covered.
Yeah, do it. Do what she says and say what she does.
Okay.
I feel like someone's just going to follow me around now and be like, and she took a step with her right foot and then the left. And I'm just going to be like, wow, okay, this is creeping me out.
And then she said something, but I couldn't understand it because I don't speak Canadian.
Don't creep out Jocelyn, you guys. Just don't do it.
It's no good. It's no good.
This is why we had to turn off her webcam, you know? People creeping around all the time.
I will get a new webcam soon,
Sure
I
you
promise.
Sure you will.
Maybe. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, doghousesystems.com. Our code is TAC, and that code will get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig and directly support the show in the process, so go do that. And also, we don't talk about this enough, but you can go to slashloot.com and get the Angry Chicken t-shirt. So go check those out. I just got another one this week. It's awesome. Very excited.
Oh, yeah, I got mine too. I now have two of them, so I got to give my other one away. I think I'm going to just give it to my roommate. But yeah, they're badass.
One yet? What the hell?
Well, we ordered them.
Paid for them.
Yeah, we paid for them.
It's called money, Jocelyn. You keep waiting for someone to just send you a camera. Now you want someone to just send you a t-shirt.
Jocelyn should just get free stuff, though, you guys. Seriously. Someone give her a bunch of free stuff right now.
F that. I want free
Right
stuff.
now.
Right now.
I want
Right
free
now.
stuff. That's no fun. So, anyways, everyone, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you all next week for the next episode of The Angry Chicken. But as always, until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.